Now, at this point, I want to shift into my business career. But I had to tell that first. Because the inspiration and the whole ideology of all that marriage stands for and life stands for, all was circumscribed in her, and how she impacted my life, which was unequal and monumental in comparison to any other person. Nothing equaled Carol. As much as I love my mother, much as I love my grandmother, the grandmothers, it was Carol. And it's been that way ever since really that first date, and it has been that way to this very day. And she's 81, and I'll be 81 in 2 months. So she's 4 months older, and she says, well, I raised him. And there's a lot of truth in that. But I think that in the context of going forth, that what is needed is a philosophical background that we have to develop within ourselves. And the best way to develop that, in my opinion, is to study the lives of those of great character. And the word character, I think, becomes the most important word. Because character is what you are in a given moment. Character is like you take a photograph and can photograph everything about a person, inside out, brains, everything, mind, physical body, spirit body, everything. And that representation of what you are is your character. So it becomes, is this a person of good character, of sterling character, or a person of so-so character? Can people depend upon this person? Is his word, his bond? What is it? What is a person going to be? And so I believe that where I started, and this started really in the mission field, I decided that I would memorize, the best of my ability anyway, from Hamlet, Polonius' advice to Laerties. Now imagine here is Polonius, the father, advising his son. His son's being kicked out of the nest, and he's leaving. And so now the father is going to give his son some advice. This is in the verbiage of William Shakespeare. So we're talking about language over 300 years old in the English language. But still, there's no one equal to Shakespeare in my judgment in writing, particularly playwriting. These plays are just amazing. This is what Laertes said to his son. There, my blessing with you, these few precepts in thy memory. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. What he meant by that was do not say stupid things and do not do stupid things. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. The friends thou hast, and thy adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. But do not dull thy palm with entertainment. Give every man thine ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit, as thy purse can buy, not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy, for the apparel ofttimes proclaims the man. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan ofttimes loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man. Now, we could spend a number of discs just on describing and discussing what Shakespeare wrote there. But I believe the line, to thine own self be true, is the most important line. It is so easy. It is so easy to deceive ourselves. It is so easy to rationalize. It is so easy to live a life of self-denial. It is so easy to look beyond the mark. It is so easy to fail to assume responsibility. It is so easy to not measure up to when someone points out to you what you ought to be doing. Very few people, they'll listen to advice, but very few will take good advice. So when he says, be thou familiar, familiar to what? To people, friends that are wise, that you can count on, that you can rely upon. And if you're going to get people of that quality, then you've got to be that quality yourself, because birds of the feather flock together. Well, now I'm a businessman. I'm back from California. I got to make money. I got to find a place to live. I got to go to work. I got to give that car back to my father. I got to get me some transportation. And I got to have a pickup. So what I said to my father, why don't we swap for a little while? And I'll use the pickup, and you got the car. He said, that's a good idea. So I had a rack built on top of that pickup where I could throw big, long poles on that pickup. It was a 3/4-ton Studebaker pickup. I loved that thing, painted tan. It was at one time, finally had paint splashed all over it by the time I got through with it. But, so that I could carry poles. Now, I've knocked on doors and asked people to let us come in Ireland, of all places. I know what it's like to be turned down. I know what the word no means, because that was the prevalent word I heard on my mission, was no, and even doors slammed. So if I can put up with that baloney, I ought to be able to take and go sell billboards. So I said, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sell the billboards first. So I had contracts written and printed, one page, pretty simple. My Uncle Bill Holden wrote it for me. It was very, very good, simple. And I went out and started to knock doors. And before long, I had about 15 contracts. But I couldn't build those billboards because that took money. And I didn't have any money because these billboards are being rented.